Imagine a genius student earning money from a casino to pay for his college tuition. It sounds unbelievable, but the story of Ben Campbell is far from simple. Ben was a mathematics student at MIT and incredibly intelligent, which is why he earned a chance to study at Harvard University. There was just one huge problem. The tuition fee was $300,000, and Ben didn't have that kind of money. A few days later, during class, Professor Mickey gave the students an extremely difficult question. None of the students could figure out the answer, until Ben calmly stood up and solved it. The professor was stunned and praised him. Later, he checked Ben's test and saw a 97% score, which convinced him that Ben was an extraordinary student. One evening, while Ben was studying in the library, a student named Fisher approached him and asked him to come along. Unsure but curious, Ben followed Fisher to a private room where Professor Mickey was waiting with 3 other students, Kiana, Choi, and Jill. Mickey then revealed the real reason for the meeting. This wasn't a study group, but his secret blackjack team, made up of some of the smartest students at MIT. He explained their method. They used mathematical techniques, adding up the remaining cards and calculating which cards were most likely to come next, even predicting what an opponent might play, then used strict signals and team rules to win at casino tables. They traveled to Las Vegas to play, and Mickey insisted that what they did wasn't technically illegal. Knowing Ben's talent from that 97%, Mickey wanted him on the team. But Ben recoiled. Gambling didn't sit right with him, and he refused to join. Everyone tried to persuade him, but he stood firm. Before he left, Mickey warned him not to tell anyone about the team. The next day, while Ben was at a store, Jill, the student he had secretly liked for quite some time, came in under the pretense of buying something. She approached him and began to persuade him to join, explaining that the scheme would help him pay for his Harvard fees quickly. Ben was clearly tempted. He was attracted to Jill, and the money would solve his problem. But he still refused, proving he could be tough and principled, even under pressure. That evening, the blackjack team was practicing for their next mission. Mickey asked them a hard question, and no one could answer. Then Ben showed up, surprised everyone by answering correctly, and announced that he had decided to join the team. The group celebrated and immediately began training him. Ben quickly learned the symbols, signals, and advanced card counting techniques. After a few days of intense training, he was ready for his test. The team brought him to a secret gambling base where he began playing against real people. At first, everything went perfectly. Ben started winning hand after hand, stacking up cash and feeling on top of the world. Then, suddenly, several men appeared, covered his mouth, and dragged him into a back room. Terrified, Ben protested that he had done nothing wrong. When the cloth was finally removed from his eyes, he realized the thugs were actually his teammates. The whole thing had been staged. It was a drill designed to test how he would react if he were ever caught. Relief, shock, and a hard lesson in how far the team would go to protect themselves washed over him. And just like that, Ben was fully in. They then announced that Ben had passed the test, and the team was finally ready for Las Vegas. The next day, the blackjack team arrived in Sin City. Before heading in, Mickey told everyone to disguise themselves, change their looks, and act like they didn't know each other. Following the rules, Ben entered the casino alone and confidently placed a bold bet of $5,000. Thanks to his training, he quickly won, doubling his money, and kept placing bigger bets. His teammates wrapped up their games and went back to their rooms, but Ben stayed at the table all night, stacking up cash. The next morning, Jill handed Ben his share of the winnings and told him everyone was impressed with his performance. Ben replied that he was only in it to pay for his tuition and would quit as soon as he had enough. Jill laughed, saying, "Everyone says that." Later, back in his dorm, Ben hid the bundles of cash inside the ceiling fan. Just then, his friends Miles and Cam showed up and asked where he had been for the last 2 days. Ben quickly lied, saying he had been visiting relatives. That evening, Ben joined his friends at a bar where Jill also happened to be. His friends encouraged him to go talk to her, because they also knew that he had a crush on her, and he finally did. They chatted for a long time, and later, on the train ride home, Ben leaned in to kiss her. But Jill pulled back, saying that since they worked together, she didn't want love interfering with business. Over the following weeks, the team made multiple trips to Las Vegas, pulling in huge amounts of money with their mathematical tricks and strategies. But it wasn't long before the casino staff grew suspicious. Cole Williams, the tough head of security, started keeping a close eye on Ben. Meanwhile, Ben and Jill grew closer, and his winnings soared into the millions. That success, however, sparked jealousy in Fisher. One night at the casino, Fisher sat down at Ben's table and deliberately broke the team's rule by talking to him as if they knew each other. Things got worse when Fisher spilled a drink on another player, which led to a scuffle. The team barely managed to escape, while the others involved got arrested by the police. Furious, Professor Mickey kicked Fisher out of the group. Meanwhile, Ben and Jill grew more intimate, eventually sharing a night together at a nightclub. But as Ben's relationship with Jill deepened, his focus shifted. His priorities changed from studying to chasing money, and he even started neglecting his friends. When his science group asked for his help, he brushed them off. Fed up, they kicked him out of the project. Shocked, Ben lashed out, saying he never cared about the project anyway, and told them to get lost. During their next trip to Las Vegas, Ben, distracted and frustrated, sat at the table and ended up losing a massive $200,000. That night, Mickey was furious. He berated Ben and expelled him from the team, ordering him to personally cover the $200,000 loss. Humiliated, but not broken, Ben later approached 3 of the remaining players with a bold idea. They should form a new team without Mickey. He argued that Mickey never took risks, yet always claimed half their winnings. Tempted by the promise of bigger payouts, the others agreed, and together, they set out to play on their own. Soon, Ben's new team started winning huge amounts of money, but just as things seemed perfect, disaster struck. Out of nowhere, Cole appeared, and while the rest of the teammates managed to run away, Ben was caught. Then it is revealed that it was the Mickey who had tipped Cole off. Ben was dragged into a secret room, where Cole and his men brutally beat him. Cole sneered as he explained that soon every casino would be equipped with facial recognition machines, which meant their entire operation would collapse. He also revealed his personal grudge against Mickey. Years ago, Mickey had won $1 million in a single night, and Cole had been fired because of it. After another savage beating, Cole released Ben. The next day, when Ben returned to college, his nightmare only deepened. He discovered that Mickey had failed him in his class, and worse, all the money he had been hiding in his dorm had been stolen. It was clear Mickey was behind it, but Ben was powerless to do anything. Broken and desperate, he went to Jill's house and confessed that he had lost everything: his money, his friends, and even his dream of going to Harvard. He apologized to her, admitting the only thing he couldn't bear to lose was her. Jill eventually forgave him, comforting him and giving him hope. Days later, Ben saw his friends Miles and Cam win the science competition. He met with Miles, apologized for his behavior, and finally shared the story of how he had gotten involved in gambling in Las Vegas. Miles forgave him, even laughing, saying, "Your Las Vegas exploits are so funny." Not long after, Ben approached Mickey and apologized too. He told him he wanted to rejoin the team and win back the money he had lost. He begged Mickey let him play one last time before the facial recognition machines were installed. He even offered Mickey a deal. He would hand over his winnings if Mickey agreed to pass him in class. Blinded by greed, Mickey accepted. Once again, the team returned to Las Vegas and won a massive $650,000. But before they could celebrate, Cole and his men stormed in to catch them. Panicked, the group grabbed the money and ran. In the chaos, Mickey convinced Ben to hand over the bag, promising he would keep it safe. Mickey bolted, jumped into a taxi, and ordered the driver to take him to the airport. He was thrilled. He had successfully escaped with all the money. But when he opened the bag, his excitement turned to horror. Inside wasn't cash at all. It was filled with counterfeit coins. At that moment, Mickey realized the truth. He had been tricked. The driver of the taxi was actually one of Cole's men. It was revealed that when Cole had previously captured Ben, the two had made a deal. Ben promised to deliver Mickey to him, and in exchange, Cole agreed to wipe Ben and his teammates' faces from the casino database, allowing them to continue playing undetected. Later, Ben and Jill met with Cole, who thanked them for handing Mickey over. Just as they were about to leave, Cole stopped them and demanded their winnings. Ben protested that he didn't remember we had any of this deal. Cole then pulled out a gun and told him, "Son, I'm about to retire. That's why I need the money." He explained that he knew Ben was smart enough to make more money somehow, but right now, he wanted it. Ben hesitated, but Jill reminded him that their lives were more important than money. Reluctantly, Ben handed over the cash, and he and Jill walked away together. Meanwhile, Mickey was dragged into the same secret room. He tried to bribe Cole, but Cole refused, saying, "No, I don't want any more money, I've had enough," and then beat Mickey severely. Meanwhile, Ben and Jill reconnected with Miles and Cam at the casino. They discovered that Miles and Cam were also skilled at math, and Ben invited them to join the team. Using their combined techniques, the group won a fortune. Days later, facial recognition machines were installed in every casino, and Cole and his associates were fired. Finally, Ben recounted his incredible journey to the Harvard principal, asking if his life experiences had managed to impress him. The principal was left speechless. And with that, the movie ends on a cliffhanger. Did Ben get into Harvard? That's left for the audience to imagine.